Good morning, guys. Time to milk. Good morning. Something escalated a little quickly here on Roots and Refuge Farm this week. I mentioned to you the other day that we had been talking about getting a second cow that was bred. And I'd been like lightly looking. I'd seen a couple that had piqued my interest, but they were all a little further away than I wanted to travel during such a busy time of year. And then, well, hey Gabriel, don't laugh at me. Y'all, meet Helen. Hey Helen. Hey girly. Hey pretty girl. Turn where we can see your face. Hey, lovely. Yeah, that escalated a little quickly. What are you gonna do? The deal is with Helen that I came across a cow that was just about exactly what I was looking for. She had calved before. She had been hand milked. She is pregnant, confirmed, and she's due here in a couple of months, so towards the end of the winter. She's a Jersey. She's tested disease-free. She's A2, all the things I was looking for. She was close by, and literally Maya was like, yeah, she's about exactly what we're looking for. Just send them a message and see. And they were like, yeah, yeah, she's available. They were like, hey, you could get her today. And I'm like, today? Oh my gosh, today? Ended up getting her the next day. Hope, you're still my best girl, Hope. Hope's like, I don't care if I'm your best girl, just come milk me. Hey, darling, come on. So I was kind of working out verbally my cow plan with you guys in my last vlog, and I was telling you that we were looking for a bred cow. I wanted to get a cow that had already calved, and I wanted to get another that's a dairy breed, and she is bred to a Jersey and confirmed bred, which is good. Now with Hope and Honey, I think we are going to gear towards a breed called Devons. Now that's what our friends the Rhodes have. Their stud muffin is an American milking Devon. But we met a friend, our friend Wes brought a friend of his up here this last weekend named Phil, who has a farm down in Florida called Generations Farm, and he raises Devons. And he offered us, the day that I made that video sharing with you guys what we were thinking about, he offered us a stud service from his Devon bull. And he also has a young Devon bull calf, and he has very nice lines. So I think that's kind of what we're leaning towards for rebreeding Hope, and then eventually for breeding Honey, because Devons are really good multi-purpose cows, so they can be used for beef or for dairy. And so if we have our Jerseys that we keep for dairy, we can breed them against the Devons over time and use them for either purpose. You know, if we are trying to make another milk, or if we want to put them in the freezer, we can do that. And eventually we're actually going to be working with our neighbors that have a lot of space to run some beef cattle, and basically helping manage that while using their ground. It's something that we've talked about with our neighbors to do. And if we have a Devon bull, we can use him with beef cattle to grow that herd, and use him for our dairy to grow this. So that's kind of loosely our plan, and I think it's gonna work out.
All right, girl, what do I do?
All right, so you just grab hold of this and squeeze. Here, you want to put...
You don't have to strip or nothing?
Nah, not on the early end. Not now. Like once we get to the end, I'll strip. But all right,
just this one?
Yep, go for it.
Oh my goodness, I suck.
All right, so I got a guest on the farm. He's not known for milking cows. He's known for sunflowers. But we're putting him to work.
That's obvious right now. Holy cow. My family'd starve.
Thank you, Hope. Here comes Honey. She'll go behind me and strip out whatever I didn't. She's so loud. What do you think about Helen, Maya?
She seems to have the same sassy attitude that my grandmother has.
So Nana, I know you watch our vlog. We didn't give her the name Helen. She actually came with it, but we did decide to keep her name Helen. So you now have a cow namesake. I don't know if you're gonna love that or hate it, but it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Her name is Helen. I don't think she's sassy. She's sweet like Nana.
Yeah, she's sweet too.
That's what you meant.
Yeah.
Not sassy. Nana's a little sassy, but she's also very sweet. And I think that might be what we have on our hands with Helen.
She's like a sweet chili sauce.
A little spicy. Very sweet. She does have a pretty face, doesn't she?
Look like my cat. My new cat's got that dark mask.
Yeah. Y'all, Helen eats like such a lady. Hope like wolfs it down and hails it.
This is the equivalent of like having like, you know, 7 sets of silverware lined up. And like, cutting off little bites.
Like she's just barely like nibbling on this. We're giving her some grain.
She's like a Downton Abbey cow.
The people who had her, she just was dried off like a month ago. She needs to put just a tiny bit of weight on. You don't want to feed them a ton when they're like later in gestation because you're not trying to like grow a massive calf, but you know, being the fact that the grass isn't growing, we're giving her some grain. They were too, to put some weight back on her. Yeah. Jerseys put so much into their milk that a lot of times like you can feed them more, but it doesn't necessarily equate to weight gain. A lot of times it equates to more milk because they just put a lot into it. So right now, kind of recovering her body condition as she grows this calf out, but the way she eats is cracking me up. I only have Hope as a comparison, and Hope is like intense when she eats. She eats with drive.
She's like a Marine at boot camp.
She's like a Marine at boot camp, for real.
3 minutes to consume your whole meal, or the drill instructor's screaming at you, so you're just...
Helen is a lady. Look at her. She's a fancy lady.
Maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This is delightful.
I found an egg. The chicken must have laid that. It was over here by the cows. Nope, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. When we moved here, they clear cut. This is actually 90-acre pasture that butts up to the back of our property. And then this 38 acres down this way is owned by somebody else. And the other day Maya came out and saw the logging trucks going down there. Where we live in the Midlands of South Carolina, loblolly pines are like one of the big agricultural crops here. I mean, these pines are grown for the purpose of being cut, but it's still kind of a bummer when they clear cut it, and they're clear cutting this 38 acres on the back side of our property. And Phil, who I mentioned that has the Devon cows, he was out here the other day, and he actually teaches permaculture. And we were discussing kind of like the design and the prevalent winds, and like basically in permaculture, when you're making a design, you have to take into consideration like where the wind comes through and just all of the factors inward on the property and outward, like the things that are coming in. So I was telling him they were about to clear cut it. While I am bummed because these trees are so beautiful and it's such a nice green backdrop to our property, again, it's one of those things like I can't control it, I can't change it. And if it's gonna get clear cut, I'm kind of glad that it's happening now on the front end while we're just building, so I know how that's going to affect my property, so I know how that's going to change drainage and how that's going to change the wind flow and all of that stuff, because I can plan accordingly. If we planned everything based on how it is and then a big factor like that changed, that would be a more difficult thing to deal with. So you can hear it now though, they're back there logging. They're starting on the far end and coming this way, so they probably won't get to these trees up by our property until like next week or something. But it's gonna change a lot because all of that is gonna be open like this. All right guys, I want to introduce you to my friend Sunflower Steve.
Hey guys.
He is here. I said he was coming down from Minnesota in my last video. I had a lot of people. He lives in Wisconsin. You did fly from Minnesota.
I did fly from Minnesota. That's correct. I did come from, but my Wisconsin people who have, I don't know, for whatever reason.
They're like, no, we're claiming him.
Yeah, they claim me or whatever. So you tell that girl.
So it's all the frigid north to me.
Yeah.
Like, it is.
Oh, this is amazing down here. It's just crazy warm.
You just had
look at this girl. This is what I'm wearing. It's like 10 degrees. That's what I'm wearing at home. I'm gonna be down to my t-shirt in about 10 minutes.
I know. I went out this morning. There's like a thick layer of frost and everything. It's just barely freezing. And he's out here at like 6:30 as the sun comes up taking photos over the pond. He's like, our water's solid right now.
Our water's stiff right now.
Yeah. So I'm actually walking Steve through my future garden space. And we're talking a little bit about some plans for the future.
Yep.
All right, so here's where my garden will be.
Okay.
Eventually, all of this.
Okay.
And I'm growing a lot of different things, but for the first time ever this year, I'm actually dedicating some space to cut flowers.
All right.
All right, so we are in the area where my cut flowers are gonna be. Now, the cool thing about Steve is that I'll put his Instagram link down below. He's not doing YouTube yet. But I've been telling him, man, you know too much stuff. You gotta teach these folks out here. Cause you've been doing flower farming
21 years now.
Yeah, so you could actually be like, you could do the hipster thing and be like, I was doing flower farming before flower farming was cool.
Yeah, well, some people asked early on one of the YouTube videos I did do, they said, does he have an Instagram account or YouTube? And I was like, you know, I was marketing before you needed that stuff. I'm old school. You know, I still write out an invoice with a pen.
So Steve has been flower farming for a really, a good long while now, knows a lot about the industry and obviously about how to grow flowers. But a really cool thing is you've actually been saving seeds. When you see something really cool, like you're gonna steward that and grow it. And he's actually developed some of the most beautiful sunflowers I've ever seen. They're extraordinary.
Pretty cool.
So he shares a lot of photos on Instagram, takes a lot of photos. So I have a lot of people here who are really just getting into gardening. And I encourage everybody to grow something lovely, to incorporate pollinators in, even if they're just growing a vegetable garden, they have no real desire to grow a lot of cut flowers or sell cut flowers, to plant these things. So what are some of your like tips for the new gardener? Do you have a couple of like tips for the new flower gardener? They're gonna grow some flowers.
You know, I think you mentioned before too, there's no real wrong and right way to do things. I can say that better. Sorry. This is why I'm not doing a YouTube channel. 4 words in, I messed up. So, oh my gosh, sorry. Look at Gabriel carrying the bucket or thing.
Oh, he does. He takes his bowl away. He's very protective of his bowl.
Okay, back to the task at hand. I would say I do get that asked that question. You know, what can I do to grow better sunflowers or grow this or that? And it's not out because it's hard to tell everybody because it's not a one size fits all. Yep. So I did mention another interview I did where try to find somebody in your area that's already kind of doing it. Yeah. And see what grows good in your area, what your zone is, what's hardy, what's not. And there's always room on either side of that where you can push the envelope and do certain things. But one is, find out what grows good in your area to begin with. But if you want the staples, just for something for mental health to look at, and of course I'm biased, sunflowers.
Me too.
Sunflowers, zinnias.
Yeah.
I grew, believe it or not, 21 years I've grew dahlias for my first time this year.
Really?
And it was phenomenal, but I'm going to have this love-hate relationship with it because I love them, but now I have to dig them out of the soil every year, and you're not going to have to.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know what to do that.
Yeah. So dahlias are, that's a whole new thing for me, and I'm actually going to grow a garden just for myself to look at. My whole life has been plant it, cut it, sleeve it, sell it. Yeah. And for the last 6-8 months I've been thinking it's just kind of cool just to look at. When I watch the dahlias every day, I was like, oh, those are cool. It was really neat to do. Look at it as something beautiful rather than just something I can make money on. Yes. And that's been the new epiphany for me too with these new flowers I've been developing. I did something for so long, I think I was kind of looking for something new to do, and this flower showed up, and we'll talk about later. Yeah. I now feel there's even a greater purpose for this flower. Yeah. But back to the thing of what can you do. Also, if you're going to be planting in the ground, get a soil test. Yeah. Find out what your soils, find out if it's too acidic or not acidic enough. That matters a lot for blooms. A lot of people think, oh, they'll soil test for vegetables, but it matters a lot for flowers. I mean, you're not going to get near the show if you don't have solid soil. Correct. And if you're growing in a raised bed or a container and stuff, that's you can control that. Yeah. So if that's what you'd like to do, you can go that way. I actually put my first raised beds in this year too. Nice. To grow some, so I'm learning as I go too, but find out what grows good in your area. and a soil tester, the two biggest things.
So obviously you love sunflowers. Like, for somebody who, let's say, is doing a home garden, they're just wanting to dedicate a little space to have a great cutting flower for their table. Like, what are some varieties or things that come to mind that you're like, oh, this is such a beauty? And I know obviously this is going to be regional and all that stuff, but like for you and what's your favorite thing to see on your table?
The zinnias. Yeah. Benary's giants to get mammoth.
Yes.
Although Florette's got some really cool ones coming out in the next couple of years too. They're just soft pastel colors.
Yes,
you know, most of the Benary's look like a handful of Skittles. I mean, they're bright, tropical really looking, and she's got these more muted tones. The sunflowers themselves, if you're going to be bringing it inside, the F1 hybrid pollenless are the best. They don't get pollen all over your tables. They still produce a ton of nectar, so the bees still love them. Yes. So any of the Pro Cuts, Sunrich series, any of that are pollenless are great for your table, have great vase life. Any of the perennials, you know, if you want to plant a couple peony plants, if you live in an area, peonies are one of my favorite plants that are perennials. I got to see pictures of the fields where he cuts his peonies from, and they are, it's such a mind-boggling thing. It's fields of beautiful flowers. It's stimulus overload. It is. It's like, you're almost like, what? and then my other favorite in the spring is the lilacs. I grow 7 different types of lilacs, and when my cooler is full of 20,000 branches, you can smell it through the door. Wow. And when you open it up, it's almost intoxicating. It overwhelms the senses. So I love, you know, if you want a couple shrubs by your house to plant for perennials. So you got your annuals, I would say zinnias, sunflowers, lilies. Yeah, lilies are beautiful. I'm not great at lilies, but I like them. Yeah. And then we could get down later into some of the native perennials that I grow that nobody else grows that are great cut flowers as well. Yeah. So. Well, thank you so much for that information. I'm going to be making a bit of content with Steve this week while he's here visiting, and also just kind of showing him my farm, and he's been playing with the kids, making friends with, with the boys. Hey, Sunflower Steve! Hey, Sunflower Steve! He's like, you can just call me Steve, but they're not going to. they think it's very cool. And I have 4 girls, and her boys are like all over the place. My girls are a little, they're not the same. Busy. It's busy here, you guys. It's so busy. That's what some people come in that are not used to being around so much movement and noise and action all the time, and I think our home is probably a little overwhelming, but it is. It's very much a lot of busyness. But yeah, we're gonna be shooting some stuff, recording some stuff, and you guys some ideas already. Yeah, you guys are gonna be hearing from us, but thank you, Steve, for sharing your knowledge with us. Well, it's editing Jess and Steve here. We just finished editing the video that you just watched. I've been trying to convince Steve that YouTube should be in his future to share his knowledge. You've been doing a lot on Instagram. Yeah, that's been surprisingly positive. And that's new for him. I mean, I got into that in July, and I'm blown away by the number of people from all over the world. It's crazy to me. I mean, mind blown. Sharing on social media is really a cool thing, and it's very humbling. And I know that social media gets a bad rap because there is so much of the highlight reel syndrome and the comparison that it can evoke. But I also think that it's a really beautiful thing to get to network with people and learn information and connect to a worldwide community that are doing the things that inspire you. I'm just an old dog that needs to learn a new trick. I'm literally 20 years her senior. My birthday was last week, and hers is in a couple days. No excuses, Steve. You can do it. Okay? We'll work on it. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us today. Again, I'll put Steve's Instagram link down below so you guys can connect with him there, and maybe you can tell him how much you enjoyed this information, because truly he's talking about it, and I just showed him how simply I edit videos. I don't do anything really fancy. So there are ways you can share your information without it having to be extremely overwhelming. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. We bless you. Until next time.